Rev up your engines!
Honda and Sony have established a joint venture to make electric cars. And the interesting thing is, the joint venture company isn't actually going to make cars. Kind of like a middleman, right? Honda's going to make the cars, Sony's going to do the electrical stuff for them. The new company's going to plan, sell, design the electric vehicles, but they're not going to actually manufacture them. They're leaving that to Honda and Sony. So what's the point of making another company? I don't know, it must be a tax write-off, some tax scam or something that they come up with. Now, sales of the first electric vehicles are projected to start in 2025, so 3 years. They say they want to establish this new company sometime in 2022, this year. So Honda and Sony are going to combine forces to make electric vehicles supposedly starting in 2025. I do have to say, I kind of agree with the Japanese. They're kind of holding back Toyota, Honda on making real full electric cars until they see where do the chips fall. Who knows how many electric cars are actually going to be sold. A lot of it is just a fad. Fiat 500, okay, they first started selling in the United States. The second or third years, they sold like 55,000 of the thing, right? But then people said they're pieces of junk. We don't like them. Nobody else wanted a little car like that. And the last year in the United States, I think they sold 500 of them, and then they pulled out of the United States. So nobody knows what's really going to happen with this electrification. I think the Japanese are smart and pushing it into the future. They can always ramp up production if need be. But if nobody's buying the things in mass because they find out there's no place to charge them, there's no electricity to be created to charge them up with, maybe they won't build them at all. They'll just build a few of them. The American way, of course, is just jump in head first. Don't measure to see how deep the pond is. Just dive in from a cliff and go in head first. Where the Japanese are much more cautious. They send in engineers, they're measuring it, maybe they're digging the pond deeper. But the Americans, oh, just jump in and see what happens. Graham says, I have a 2019 Outback with a CVT transmission. What should I do when I'm stopped? Should I leave it in drive? Should I put it in neutral? What should I do? I don't want to damage things, but I want my car to last. Leave it in drive. CVT transmissions are different than regular transmissions. They are perfectly set up for staying in drive. If you keep shifting them to neutral, you can actually mess things up, especially if it's one of those cheap Jatco automatic transmissions. They'll often screw up if you keep going neutral drive, neutral drive. That's the one thing. They really don't have a problem with that. Since they don't have a torque converter like a normal automatic transmission, the torque converter drags your engine when you're in drive. So if you put it neutral, it's not dragging. Those don't have that, so there's no reason to shift them into neutral. So no, just leave it in drive. It was designed for that, so just leave it in that. Don't put it in neutral like in an old-fashioned automatic that had a torque converter that's actually putting a drag on the engine. CVTs aren't set up like that. Deadman 1998 says, I got a Honda Civic with a fuel trim problem. 2002 Honda Civic, long-term fuel is 7%. How do I fix it? All right, well, if your long-term fuel is 7%, it means that it's adding 7% fuel because your engine is running lean. The most common thing is a vacuum leak. So look around the engine, check for sucky noises, vacuum lines that fell off. Easily can be that. Also, if you have a clogged fuel filter, it can't pump enough fuel, it'll run lean. Change the fuel filter. Simple thing, right? Now, if it's not that, it could be a weak fuel pump. It could be fuel injectors that are dirty and that aren't pumping enough, and you could have them pressure cleaned by a pro like me with our machines. Most guys charge about $100. Could even be the mass airflow sensor is going bad. But check for vacuum leaks first. That's the most common. If it isn't, change the fuel filter and then clean the mass airflow sensor like in my video. Make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. It shows how to clean both the throttle and a spray cleaner. With cleaner, you can get it yourself and easily do it yourself. It's an easy job. And that can fix it too. Brit B212 says, should I trade in my Hyundai for a Toyota? I got a 2016 Hyundai Accent with 16,000 miles that I paid $10,500 for. I'm thinking about selling it, getting a 2016 RAV4. Wondering, should I sell it or trade it in? Well, you don't have that many miles on it. You only got 16,000 miles. But if you're in it for the long run, 10, 20 years or more, the prices of used cars have gone insane. You'll probably get good bucks for yours. And if you can get a RAV4, go ahead. The RAV4 might last 10, 20 years or more. The Hyundai won't last this long. Normally, I'd say forget it. Nobody's going to give you much for a 6-year-old Hyundai Accent, but it's only got 16,000 miles, and the trade-in prices, Carvana, CarMax, go to them, see what they offer. You might be shocked at how much they offer. Now, you're going to pay more for the Toyota, but it's going to last so much longer, and it's such a better-made vehicle, you might think about it. But if the numbers don't crunch up, keep the Hyundai. It's only got 16,000 miles. Even they generally don't fall apart till they get over 100,000 miles on them. PG Tip says, I have brake pulsation after my rear and front pads and rotors were replaced. I still have a pulsation when I slow from 40 below. There's really only two things that can cause pulsation. Your rotors are warped because you got cheap rotors. And if you buy those cheap Chinese ones that are like, 1995, I just changed the rotors on my Matrix. You know what I did? I went online and I bought the original equipment, Nip and Denso ones, from a Toyota dealer that had a good deal. They had a sale and they were $50 each off. So I said, what the heck? They're only $30 more than the cheap ones. So I bought them and I have no pulsations at all. You could have gotten bad parts, right? But let's say the parts are okay. You could have a problem with the ABS system, the anti-lock brake system, and that can make them pulse when you brake too. But let's face facts. If it wasn't doing that before, and it is now, the ABS system all of a sudden break out of nowhere. Probably it would be that you got bad rotors, cheap rotors that are warped. And I see that all the time with the cheap crap that comes from China. They're just not made right and they're warped, and from the get-go they don't work very well. And I've even seen them where they worked okay and then like 7,000 miles later they're warped. They should last 60, 70,000 miles or more and they only last 7 and then they warp. So don't ever buy the cheap ones if you don't like warpage. Ash702 says my AC goes from cold to none and cold again. I got an 09 CRV. Now it has been evacuated and fully charged twice. It still does the same thing. What's the problem? It's on off, on off. First thing, do the simplest thing, buy a new relay for the AC clutch. The air conditioning system has a relay and that's what powers the AC clutch to turn on and off. They go bad, that's exactly what will happen, right? Now, if it's not that, there's a pressure switch. The pressure switch could be bad. It'll turn the power off, the clutch will go off. But then it might start working again and the clutch will come back on again. Pray it's one of those two. Those are very simple fixes because you said it's been evacuated and filled twice, it does the same thing. Probably the compressor. They just wear out over time and then they work for a while and don't work for a while, work for a while, don't work for a while. It's easily could be the compressor, but check the simple electric stuff first because the compressors are expensive. But from my experience with Hondas, you probably got a compressor that's starting to wear out. And if you're going to replace it, don't put in some rebuilt pile of crap. Put in a brand new one with clutch. PVM21 says, my car stalls while driving and won't start and stalls out intermittently. I got 2017 Tacoma TRD Sport. It stalls on the highway and won't start until cooled down. At 2 warning lights, low oil pressure, high ATF temperature, then disappears. No check engine light. Toyota says they don't know what's wrong. You have a problem. Electronic problem, right? Pretty rare for a Tacoma, but things do happen. And unfortunately, the only way you're going to fix it without guessing is find a guy like me who cares. The Toyota dealer, their mechanics, they don't care. They don't give them time. They won't let them keep a car for 3-4 days, drive it all over the place. That's wasted money to them. Give the car to a guy like me near Clarksville, Tennessee. You want to set up a time? Hey, I'll check it out. Just driving around with my computer hooked up. When it acts up, that data's recorded and I can play it back and I could see you're guessing maybe it's the crankshaft position sensor. Well, if it was, then when it was running, I would have the crankshaft data. All of a sudden, the data would glitch down to 0. And I'd know, okay, either the wiring to the crankshaft position sensor is bad, the computer that feeds it is bad, or the sensor itself is bad. Now, if you want to guess what the heck, it's no big deal changing a crankshaft position sensor. Change it and see what happens. But you're just going to be guessing. We mechanics, rather than guessing, at least the good ones, we hook up a machine and then drive it until it conks out. Now, if it's only going to do it every once in a while, you're going to have to leave it for a few days with the mechanic. That's the way it goes. But when it does die, with that machine hooked up, all that data is being recorded. All the mechanic has to do is look at it. One thing drops out, they know the dropout is where the problem is. And then you got to check the wiring, the computer, and the sensor. But at least you know what exact system is breaking down. Well, the need for speed goes on. Jeep says its new electric vehicle Wrangler is going to go to 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It's going to be called the Jeep Wrangler Magneto, as in electric magneto, right? 850 foot-pounds of torque and 625 electric horsepower. Technically, it's called the Jeep Wrangler Magneto Concept 2.0. Well, I don't know what happened to 1.0. It's based on the Wrangler Rubicon SUV, but it's going to be an all-electric one. Of course, it is a concept, so they're not going to make the exact thing. Now, they said it's going to include what they call their electronic powertrain calibration, which lets it go that fast. Normally it wouldn't. They call it nitrous oxide for electricity, which allows the vehicle to use peak production for 10 seconds. So it does it in 2 seconds, so it's still got 8 seconds left, right? It can't run like this all the time. High up in the air, we're talking about tip over city. I can see the idiots putting it on, slamming on the gas, accelerating and flipping over. Realize the original Willys Jeep, the thing barely went 45 miles an hour. You get something this fast, you kind of ask it for trouble. They showed it off at the Moab off-roading, because of course Jeep off-roading, even though most of the people that are going off-roading, they're not buying an electric vehicle, but the need for speed goes on. They claim it's going to go 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, which is insanity for something that high up in the air. Like I said, you're asking for trouble. It's going to flip. Bad enough when they started putting V8 engines in those things to make them faster. Well, these things put out like over twice the horsepower of those and tons more torque because electric motors have instant torque as soon as you turn them on, so their acceleration is insane. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.